With the fourth industrial revolution we're entering now, you've got autonomous automation. So we can transform our current way of life in these 9 cities of Coachella Valley very easily. And of course, let's start with transportation. What do we want to do? We want to transform. So traffic is transformational in the Coachella Valley. It's not like we have a lot of problems to fix. And there's one term utilized by traffic scientists, public policymakers, and that's bandwidth. You know, bandwidth or mobility. Mobility is volume over capacity. So volume is the number of cars, you know, giving them a supply of roads. Second one is monitoring conditions, so that then first responders, utilities can be alerted immediately and make some corrective action. Road traffic laws, enforcement, you know, taxing the people for behavior. Next one is inbound flow control. If you got a big Coachella music festival happening, and is there flow control means in the city, you do not want neighborhoods and main roads to be gridlocked, you know, where cars are sitting at intersections. So you need to control or modulate cars entering the city, and that's called inbound flow control. And those technologies we need to install very soon in the Coachella Valley. Air pollution, noise pollution, intelligent street lighting and signs, none of those exist. Air, noise, lighting, all of these are impacting human well-being. Human well-being is health, and not only mental health, physical health and mental health. Transaction times at toll booths, parking meters, police citations, all those take time and block traffic. So you must, all that today with digital tokens, with digital wallets, you can make those transactions instant. The four pedals, as the Smart City Council promotes, are livability, workability, learnability, and sustainability. Green GDP is where you do produce a lot of goods and services. However, you do it without destroying your environment. So we'll keep our great Coachella Valley hiking trails, our great parks, etc., and yet we will be a very productive corridor.
Cleantech San Diego was formed at that time really as an economic development organization, really focused on building out the technology development and deployment of renewable energy and clean technology in San Diego. So 9 of our cities have adopted climate action plans. That's significant from an environmental perspective, but currently we have 45% of the energy that's coming into our region as renewable energy. A lot of it thanks to this area out here with the Sunrise Power Link that connected San Diego and Imperial County, and all the energy that's coming over that transmission line is renewable. So we as a region understand and value this part of the state as well as it relates to our renewable energy goals. We also have the second most solar installations, rooftop solar installations in the state. LA beats us and we go back and forth with them every year. But we're obviously generating a lot of energy locally from the sun. Today we've got about 32,000 electric vehicles in our region. We are supporting those with about 1,600 public charging stations. So we're working now with public, private, academic organizations to really advance our smart cities deployment in our region, which again, kind of going back to our roots was really greenhouse gas emissions, economic development, but now really tying in IoT and equity and some of those conversations, or those topics into conversation, because they're crucial. And for us, a lot of these conversations are starting when cities are adopting their climate action plans. So we are working on a smart regional approach, as we've been working with cities, and particularly San Diego, Chula Vista, and Carlsbad. We've realized that this isn't just a single jurisdiction issue, especially as it relates to transportation. We really have to start working together to really start thinking about these problems from a regional approach. So we've launched a smart regional program with these primary partners sitting at the table right now because they have been engaged in these conversations for some time. Right now we're really focused on public safety, mobility, energy, and sustainability. A number of different guiding principles, but especially around ensuring equity, enhancing connectivity in our region, and at the same time creating platforms that are open, secure, and private. We really want to make sure that as we move forward with these, citizens don't feel like we're threatening them. They don't feel like this is becoming a big brother system to monitor their every move. So really thinking about that from a privacy perspective.
think that we're moving into what I would consider a Smart City 2.0 phase. I did not invent that term. Smart cities originated, I believe, in this concept that the public sector got, or the private sector I should say, the private citizens, you and I, got very used to the kinds of tech delivery that we get from some of the big commercial experiences. As the tech sector started to get so much farther ahead of government, and there's so many developments in that space, I think the private citizen experience really started to diverge. So on the one hand, you have your Amazon experience where I can order something and it shows up in an hour or a day or whatever the case might be. But then I go to my local government and I want to get a dog license or apply for a building permit or something like that. And I have to fill out a PDF form maybe that I've then got to download and print, and I've got to walk it into the office, and I'm going to pay with a check, and I'm going to wait a long time, and I have no idea what's happening during this process. I don't know at what stage it's in, or which approvals I've gotten or haven't gotten. You really start to feel that difference, right? And so the smart city movement, I think, started with people realizing that there was a big gap here, and this gap was growing, and governments needed to do a little bit to catch up. The kinds of things that are possible when you take the principles of the smart city movement and you gather the data, you go through the smart city 1.0 phase, you gather the data that you need to understand the problem, but then move beyond that into how do we actually implement on or solve these problems. You get in the smart city 2.0 space, if you will, and these are the kinds of results, and we're not the only company delivering these kinds of results. Many cities have done very similar things with the administrative process, getting a permit, or budgeting process, or citizen engagement. There's sort of all sorts of different spaces where these kinds of things are happening. But what I want to stress is that moving beyond just understanding the problem to actually delivering solutions can be enormously effective. And I think it brings the entire smart city movement sort of full circle and delivers on the promises that we make as smart city professionals, and shows why people should continue to invest in this space. Thanks.